Hi, I'm Gaga.
And I'm Papa.
Welcome back to Mabie Island. First, we'd like to remind you to subscribe, hit the like button,
And hit your bell notifications.
make sure to follow us on Instagram.
And Twitter at Mabie Island. Hi guys, this is Papa. Listen, do us a favor. Always hit the likes and never, ever skip the ads. That's what keeps this channel on the air. And the great computer in the sky knows it when you skip the ads, so please, please don't skip the ads.
Now guys, if you subscribe, you're an islander for life. So let us know where you're watching us from.
So today we're going to be reacting to another one in our series of Track 5 Taylor Swift. Meaning that on her album, this would be your Track 5. Now, in the fan base, as you remember, Track 5 holds a special place in the heart of Swifties. Track 5 is usually her most vulnerable and most heartfelt song. So, this Track 5 is called Dear John off her album, Speak Now. And what's so special about this album is she didn't have any co-writers. Every bit of it was written by Miss Taylor Swift herself, I believe between the ages of 19 and 21. We're gonna get right into it. Are you guys ready?
We're ready.
Ready?
All right.
I like the start of it.
Sounds like it has a country undertone.
Days once revolved around you.
She's in love with somebody.
Praying the floor won't fall.
Sounds like she's pacing the floor at night. Like something's wrong.
You paint me a blue sky chess game, but you change the rules every day.
Heavy hitting lyrics.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
Which version of you I might get on the phone?
Sounds like a split personality, doesn't he?
No, sort of.
I like this chorus.
I love it.
Ooh.
I take it this is written after it's over.
Sounds like it. Yeah. Yeah.
You'll add my name to your long list of traitors.
Sounds like he always blames the girl.
Yeah.
I ignored when they said run as fast.
Oh, well, you should have listened.
You can. Don't you think I was too
If she wrote all these lyrics herself, she did a heck of a job. I think they're very expressive.
Coming from personal experience, obviously.
so don't
Great lines.
Yeah.
fireworks over your sad empty town.
Wrote you a song.
You should have known.
I don't think she's too happy with him.
You should have known.
What a pretty song.
Really is.
Okay, so just a first thought after listening to the song, which is a pretty long song. It's over 6 minutes long. What are your first initial thoughts? Did you like it?
I liked it. And I liked the chorus especially. It's very catchy. You tend to want to sing along.
I love the song. I thought it was a great song. And it's obvious that she has written this song from the heart about an experience that she went through. I could not help but think what a great song it was for young girls to listen to in case they're in a similar situation.
You guys have studied the lyrics before you ever heard the song and formulated ideas. And now that you've heard the song, you can take what you've studied, put it all together and do kind of like a deep dive or a lyric breakdown. So let's get right into that.
You told us, and so did the internet, that this is about a relationship she had with John Mayer back in 2009, 2010 that only lasted a short period of time before, as she said, she put an end to it. She says, my mother thought I was losing my mind, and she was in love with this man, And he struck me as from these lyrics as a controlling, emotional abuser. And in several lines that comes forward when she says, paint me a blue sky and then you turn it to rain. Basically, what that means is you're nice to me one minute and cruel to me the next.
And she says also, I lived in your chess game. And he was playing games with her.
Right.
But you change the rules every day. Well, that would be impossible to live with.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds like she was almost dealing with a split personality. Really kind one moment and making her feel good about herself and then kind of pulling the rug out from under her.
Right. The natural thing, and I know a lot of young girls feel this way, did I do something wrong? Mm-hmm. And she said maybe it was my blind optimism that was to blame, when really it wasn't her at all.
Girls tend to blame themselves, or they look at themselves and think they probably did something wrong, especially if the person they're dealing with kind of indicates they're unhappy with them or not pleased with them.
Right.
So they, self-reflect. But I think she got really uncomfortable with that and was strong enough to say, well, I'm going to stop picking up this phone and this song to let you know why. So that's why she wrote this song.
Well, and she says, but maybe it's you and your sick need to give love and then take it away. Yeah. And things like this cause a lot of young girls to think, what's going on?
I'm impressed by the fact that she wrote all her own lyrics and apparently had no help on this. I think it's one of the strongest songs I've ever heard from her. She really paints a picture, and you know exactly what's going on.
Right.
And I love the music that she wrote to go with these lyrics. Just think it's very good. I like that country feel. She even has a little country twang.
Mm-hmm. So for reference, she was 1920 when they dated, and she wrote the song, and he was 32.
Yeah.
So he was 12 years older than her. She had been in maybe one serious relationship to speak of, which was with Joe Jonas of the Jonas Brothers. So that was really the only real heartbreak she had suffered before she got into a relationship with John Mayer. He definitely had been around the block several times and had a reputation of doing this, kind of torturing women with the back and forth, up and down. And
she seems to think he will not take any blame for it when she says, you'll add my name to that long list of traitors who don't understand.
That implies to me that he had talked to her about former relationships like they were all crazy. That wasn't his fault. It must have been their fault. So, if you don't do everything he says, then you're a traitor. I just like the way she expresses herself here. It's very vivid. For her mama to say she felt like she was losing her mind, she must have really been in a state and fretted. I mean, he apparently could psychologically really work her over.
Well,
with his game playing,
Exactly. When he say after they've been together, she was the girl in the dress that cried all the way home.
Yeah.
So you're 100% right. She says here, you're an expert at sorry, and then keeping the lines blurry. That is classic of an abuser to say, oh, I'm sorry, it won't happen again. But if, and it's almost like, okay, you pushed my buttons, and that's why this happened, but it won't happen again. But the implication is don't push my buttons again when she's done nothing wrong.
I think the other thing, too, like you said, she'd been in one serious relationship, and he'd probably been in many. And I think because she started out at such a young age being a musician and writing, focused totally on, being a songwriter, that she was probably a little less mature than some people who had dated a lot. She probably, she was doing music, she was doing shows. She wasn't focused on guys, so she was a little more vulnerable, I think, than a typical 19-year-old.
I totally agree, but I think she's stronger than we think because she apparently knew of some of the other girls he'd been with. Says all the girls that you've run dry have tired, lifeless eyes because you burned them out. And she's saying, I'm getting out before that I become like that.
Right.
And that's where she makes probably the best line in the whole song. I took your matches before the fire could reach me. She reached down deep and thought, even though I love him, and she says in the song, I loved you so much, even though I love him, I'm better off without him for my own mental health. She got out while the getting was good.
With Taylor, she was right in the beginning of, getting used to being on stage in front of these huge crowds. And apparently John Mayer tweeted out he wanted to sing a song, he wanted to write a song, and he wanted to sing it with Taylor Swift. So she was completely freaking out.
Starstruck.
Starstruck.
Yeah.
And then brought him on stage shortly after that to sing with her, still completely starstruck. And to go from being starstruck to love-struck, it must have been a lot of emotions to handle for a young girl. And I think now the bad blood between them might be over, because with her recent song Lover, he said that he loved the song and he thought it was great.
Although it wasn't about him.
No.
No.
I do like it at the very last lines. She says she'd gone from saying, I should have known better, to saying, you should have known. You should have known. She says it 3 times in 2 lines. And so she's realized, this relationship going bad was not my fault. He was manipulative, he was abusive, and he should have known. I don't have to blame myself.
Well, I think she had a healthy response to when she realized what was going on, to get herself out of it. And that would probably be a lesson to a lot of young ladies out there.
A whole lot.
If it's not fun, if it doesn't feel good, get out.
Or I would say, if your mom doesn't like him,
She's
get
right.
away.
Get away. And if one thing one day and another thing the other day, don't try and figure it out. Just get out.
Yeah.
I did want to make a comment, which has nothing to do with Taylor Swift or anything. Dear John, actually, between 1880 and 1923, John was the most common name given to young American men. So there were a lot of men in World War II overseas named John. And the thing they feared the most, because during World War II, you didn't come home every 6 months for a vacation. You stayed over there till the end of the war, 2-3 years.
Oh, and you didn't have a cell phone.
You didn't have a cell phone.
Or anything.
No way to contact except letters.
Yeah.
So this is where the phrase, Dear John, came up. Soldiers would receive letters saying, Dear John, I'm sorry, I found somebody else.
Yeah.
Even though we were married or dating or whatever, I've moved on. And that happened a lot, and that apparently is where the original phrase, Dear John, came from.
Dear John letter.
A Dear John letter. And so John Mayer got a Dear John song.
That was her letter to him.
Right.
After the deep dive into the lyrics and listening to the song, we're going to rate the song 1 to 5 stars, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. So, Gaga, we will start with you. What did you think of Dear John by Taylor Swift?
I really liked the lyrics. I thought the song had a purpose. I give it a 5. I enjoyed the music too.
All right, Papa, from 1 to 5 stars, what would you give Dear John by Taylor Swift?
I would also give it a 5. Of course, I love country music. This song, as Gaga just said, tells such a great story to young girls all over the world that I think it deserves a 5.
Why don't you rate the song and tell us what you thought of Dear John? Leave your comments in the comments.
And please tell us where you're from. Anywhere in the world, any state, province, country, island in the Pacific. Tell us where you're from.
And maybe next time we'll give you a shout out.
Let us know what you'd like us to react to next. Make sure you subscribe, and remember, it's nice to know
So many nice people.
Bye.